Huge news from Verve. The 30-day free trial is back. If you have not checked out Verve, now is the time to check it out. The link is down below. Plus, tons of new content, not just anime, but now there are new documentaries on there, as well as independent movies from Mubi and Curiosity Stream. Plus, offline viewing will be available. Watch all your favorite anime, subbed and dubbed, and tons more on Verve. The link is down below. Don't wait, get it now. Last week was a very newsworthy episode of Super because we saw not one, but two universes, especially one that we've become attached to, Universe 6, get wiped away by Zeno. And now the story continues with the battle against Universe 4 here on 119. The Japanese name is Kaifuno Suterusu Kogeki no Moi, which translates to unavoidable, the fury of a stealth attack. Now, with all the stuff that's gone on the past few weeks, I had a weird feeling going into this episode that it would be a bit underwhelming. I felt like it would be kind of a breather episode, like an episode where, we've seen a lot of crazy stuff happen, like the universe getting wiped out and Ultra Instinct Goku against Kefla, a lot of big events, whether or not you like them. So I thought this episode was going to be, I guess you could say, less emphasized. And what actually wound up happening after watching it is, this episode really actually felt like filler. And it's weird to say that because there were some pretty interesting things that happened in the episode as far as where we're going with eliminations and whatnot. But I think that they really dropped the ball on this one. The problem with this episode is not what it had, it's more so what it didn't have and the potential for it to be greater than it actually was. Now, the thing about us as Dragon Ball fans or as fans of anything, it doesn't matter what you're a fan of, whether it be video games or, Star Wars, whatever, is that sometimes as fans, we tend to overhype things. We hear or read about something and we tend to think, okay, like, this is going to be pretty cool. This is going to be a great idea. And we're kind of getting excited for it. And then when they blow it, when the execution ends up not being what we thought it was going to be, we end up feeling a little empty, right? That's happened all the time, especially in Super. I mean, that's happened a lot in this series. Dragon Ball Super has a lot of problems, and I'm going to discuss that in a different video. It's not a perfect show whatsoever, and I'm sure most of you can agree to that. And I just want to say that I'm going to criticize Super in this review, and I always try to criticize Super fairly. What I don't want is people to go around saying that I'm this hater, because that's a complete crock of shit. If you like Dragon Ball Super one week, people call you a fanboy. If you hate it the next week, they call you a hater. That's not what we're doing here. I'm neither one of those things. I'm looking at this fairly. And there are things about Dragon Ball Super that I like. There are things I don't like. With this episode, it wasn't just that the expectations were not met. I felt like the episode was directed and produced very, very underwhelmingly. And I felt that it was just, in many ways, a waste of time. I thought, before I even watched it, I was going to compare it to the Snipers episode where they fought the Snipers, and really there's a lot of similarities here. They're facing off against opponents that aren't necessarily that strong, but that they have a problem facing off against. They have a problem because they have some kind of special ability. In this case, we have Shansta, who can make illusions, and we have the two bugs, which actually wound up being one bug because there was some kind of change. There's some weird stuff here, guys. There was some kind of change in the way that Gamisaurus looked, to where Gamisaurus looked more like an invisible, like, lizard-looking thing. You know what I mean? Not really like a bug. And then Daemon looked the same. So that was just, this episode was very strange. And again, not in a good way. So basically, the first part of the episode is Vegeta fighting Kato Pesa, and I can never say his name right, but he goes into ultimate mode, which gives him a 300 times multiplier, so the power scalers can have that one for free, right? And Vegeta fights him, and he does this move called the Final Mission, and Vegeta counters with one called the Final Flash, which I thought was pretty clever, and he eliminates Kato Pesa. And what funny, this is going to irritate some people, it's not my fault, but how ironic is it that we saw more of this fight? We saw more of Vegeta versus Kato Pesa than we did freaking Vegeta versus Toppo. So what about that? So as Vegeta's looking over the ledge, something pulls his legs out from under him, but he grabs the side of the arena before he gets thrown out, so he's not eliminated. Same thing happens to Gohan, but then Piccolo saves him with his stretching arms. So, as it's going on, Gohan is like, well, what's happening here? We can't sense the energy of this fighter. Meanwhile, Android 18 is getting hit from behind. There's a quote. Anyways, Kitella's laughing about it. Krillin's concerned. He's like, okay, what's going on here? Roshi brings up, the Invisible Man. And those of you who are hardcore Dragon Ball fans, or at least who have at least watched the entire series, you know about how they beat the original Invisible Man back in Dragon Ball, which was Bulma flashed Roshi. He had a nosebleed, and Yamcha, believe it or not, was able to see the Invisible Man and eliminate him. This is during the Baba saga, way, way back. Beerus even makes a comment about that being something old school or old fashioned, which I thought was pretty funny. But Kitella does confirm that this fighter is indeed invisible. Now, last week I talked about episode structure, and I talked about how it was structured to where we had two different fights going on, and the director would cut between the two fights for the entirety of the episode, which was very good and very unique and creative. This one was structured differently. This one was more like a video game where you had like 3 levels. So 3 levels, 3 different opponents. That's how this game was, right? This video game-esque episode. Level 1, the opponent was Gamisaros. Okay, how do we beat this guy? Well, we can't sense his energy because he has a way to make himself invisible. So what do? We make him visible. So the first thing that they try, which I thought was cool, is Piccolo goes old school. Another throwback to classic Dragon Ball. He busts out the Chobaku Retsumahara, which is the full power shockwave, the move that he used on Goku during the 23rd Budokai where he does the big explosion. Old school Piccolo move. Doesn't really do anything. And Roshi does actually bring up the whole nosebleed thing, but Gohan's like, well, Gohan decides let's fire blast at the stadium, right, in different directions to flush him out using smoke from the destroyed rock. So they do this, and smoke ends up surrounding Gamisaras, and they end up seeing what he looks like. And again, Gamisaras looks different than the original design that we got from the official magazines. He looks nothing like the way that we thought. He doesn't even look like Daemon. The whole idea was they were going to be twin Universe 4 bugs, and Daemon was going to look just like Gamisaras. That's not the case here. They did not look alike. And I didn't get a good look at him either because it was invisible, but I didn't see the body shape being like Daemon. So Piccolo spots him, beats him up, and eliminates him. That's it? That's it. Like, that's the end of Gamisara. So talk about all that hype for nothing. And when I say hype, again, a lot of it was from the fandom, right? Because they wanted to see this, but can you blame them? The idea of an invisible fighter or a microscopic fighter is a cool idea. I'll talk more about that later. So the next level, right, level 2, was Kitella calling forth Shansta, and he creates this big red energy field around the fighters, and he creates illusions of the previous fighters that have already been eliminated from the tournament, like the Trio of Danger and whatnot. So this became like level 2. How do they get past illusions they can't hit? Well, Piccolo can't hit these illusions, but guess who he can hit? Shansta. Go right for the core. So he eliminates him. That's it. I should rename this review Dragon Ball Super Episode 119 Review, That's It, because that's pretty much what this was. Then we go on to it really was it, bro. Like, that was it. Then we move on to level 3, which was Piccolo against the bug Daemon. You can't see Daemon, but the difference is that unlike Gamisaras, he can sense his ki. So Piccolo's trying to actually attack him, but he can't hit him because he's so small, and as a result of that, he gets behind Piccolo and eliminates Piccolo. That's it. The little green, how about that for an ironic twist? Big Green got eliminated by a very, very little green, which was Daemon. Piccolo got eliminated. I'm over here thinking that Piccolo's elimination would be a tiny bit more dramatic. Gohan's reaction to it was, underwhelming. I mean, I expected Gohan to be a lot more affected by the elimination of Piccolo because that's his boy, that's his mentor, who's been really beside him the entire tournament. Gohan just sees him get thrown out, and that's it. Also, if you are wondering, what was the follow-up to last week's episode with Beerus, with Beerus's brother being destroyed and deleted, and how Beerus, said, say something, which everybody in the fandom is wondering what the hell he was really saying there and what he was thinking? Nothing. No follow-up. They literally didn't even bring it up. That to me is bad writing. That if people want to talk about bad writing, they say, oh, well, Caulifla, that's bad writing. When it's really not. well, I'll get to that in a different video. Or they say that this and that's bad writing. No, that is bad writing because you have an established character like Beerus who we've seen has a soft spot for Champa. We've seen this because he used his Super Dragon Ball wish to resurrect his brother, and they didn't even remotely insinuate that Beerus was affected by this. Now, I understand the idea that Beerus is like, wanting to hide his emotions and doesn't really want to, he doesn't really want to show that he cares for his brother. I get that because he's always done that. But they did not even hint at that. There was not a follow-up here. That's bad. Like that's no different than when, you had Gohan eliminate that one dude and he saw his locket and they didn't follow up on it. The problem, like the reason why this is an issue is because what a lot of people don't get is that Dragon Ball Super is written by several different writers. Every episode has a different writer. And what happens is, because the show doesn't really have that much direction, because there's no original manga to base it off of, like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, from the mind of one man and his editors, you've got episodes that don't really sync up with the previous ones. It's sort of like how in comic books, when you have a new writer take over, he has his style, he has his favorites, and it sort of is different from the previous writer. Same thing here. So I don't know if that's actually what happened, but that's my guess here. And to me, the idea that Beerus didn't even react a little bit, they didn't even like have Whis, like at least I didn't see it. If I missed it, I apologize. They didn't even have Whis even like bring up, hey, are you okay? Like nothing. All they had to do was say, hey, are you okay? And Beerus would have been like, I'm fine. And then it would have actually been a lie. That was a big problem. Also, we're going to get to a little bit more criticism in a minute, but let me finish up a little summary here and then tell you my thoughts on it, okay? So what happens is Piccolo gets thrown out by the bug, which Piccolo fans, I'm sorry. And the idea was that 17 was just about to get thrown out the same way. Goku saves him. Goku's trying to hit Daemon, but he can't connect. 17's listening to the movements and dodging. So Goku and 17 come up with this kind of technique where 17 allows Daemon to attack him. Then they finally see that he's just really, really, really small. They can sense his ki, but they can't hit him. And Goku laughs when he finds out that he's a little bug. I thought that was kind of funny, too. So they have trouble with him still. Like I said, 17 and Goku come up with a strategy where they turn it into a shooting gallery. Goku punches the ground beneath him, breaking it. And as he does that, 17 fires Ki Blast at him to push him back. Then he traps him in a barrier so he can't get out. And literally grabs the barrier ball and punts him out, dude. 17 punted him. He punted him out of the damn stadium. And that's it for Universe 4. Kitella freaks out. Zeno erases them. And now we're down to 3 universes, 4, 7, and 11. And I'm going to say the word that I said earlier in this review. That's it. This was a very underwhelming episode of Dragon Ball Super. And the reason why I knew it was underwhelming is because when I got done watching it, and I'm going to watch it again, because I always watch these episodes multiple times, I have no desire to watch it again. Like, usually when I watch a Super episode, you take the good with the bad, right? We all know this, but I tend to watch it more than once to kind of study it and see what I missed and things like that, because you can't catch everything. My reviews are far from perfect. I'm not going to BS you on that one. But to me, this is like the first time in a long time where I've just not wanted to watch this episode again. And that's because it was just so poorly executed. The idea, the concept behind these invisible and miniature fighters is such a cool idea. And the fact that they blew it with a one-shot episode, it felt like a filler episode. Nothing here even remotely mattered. Piccolo's elimination wasn't shown any respect. The Beerus and Champa relationship was shown no respect at all by the writers. And in fact, the other one that really burns my balls is that we know that Beerus and Kitella have a rivalry because they're talking trash to each other throughout this episode and previous episodes and in the manga. We know that Beerus and Kitella are rivals. They have heat. They didn't even play that up. Like, I was expecting, and again, and maybe it's my fault for heavy expectations, I was expecting Kitella to, him and Beerus, for them to shed more backstory on this. Like, why do they hate each other? Where is this coming from? Like, I wanted more of that. I wanted more of that rivalry. And I feel like during this tournament, they've built up the Beerus and Champa rivalry, which we know is just more, they're brothers. They care about each other. We've seen that in the series, bro. You can't say they don't. We've seen it in the damn series. But yet, Beerus' actual, enemy, Kitella, they barely even scraped the surface of that. Like, it was mostly those pre-tournament episodes with Frieza. Like, we got nothing here. And I just felt that it was so bad. Like, it just wasn't good. And a lot of folks have said that one of the issues with Dragon Ball Super is that it never lives up to expectations. There are great concepts, but yet the executions of these concepts are rarely, satisfying. I think Ultra Instinct and Jiren may have been two winners there. I think, some of the Trunks arc was a winner, not all of it. I think there have been great moments. I do like the series, don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong on that one, but I can't lie and say that there haven't been several disappointments, and to me, this is one of them. You know what I mean? This idea, this concept of Universe 4 being slimy and having Kitella hide the bugs so that way when the tournament time runs out, there's still going to be a bug there. Why didn't the bugs wait until the very end? Why didn't the bugs, this makes no sense to me, why didn't the bugs, knowing that, and well, it's Daemon and Gamisadas, who isn't really a bug, but you get what I'm saying. Why didn't they wait? Why didn't Universe 4 wait until Jiren fought Goku again? They tire each other out, and then you go in and reveal yourself and eliminate them. That made no sense to me. Why would they attack now? And why would they go after Vegeta and Gohan? Why wouldn't they focus on one target? If Daemon and Gamisadas worked together and focused on one target at a time, they might have been able to win because they got Piccolo out. There's just so many things about this episode that were just so bad, just so like head scratching and underwhelming, and just I expected them to do better with this because the concept was there, like the idea was there, but just it was executed extremely poorly in my opinion, and it basically felt like nothing. We have no relationship at all with Universe 4, right? We have no connection to them. We have a connection with Universe 6 and of course 7 as viewers, right? And we had a little bit of a connection with Universe 9. We saw them before, a little bit with Universe 2 because Ribria had a lot of hate. Not saying it was a good connection, but it was one there. Nobody gave a damn about Universe 4, and I felt like the series never gave us a reason to care. And next week, we've got the fight with Universe 3, which is going to probably look cool, but do we even care about Universe 3? See what I'm saying? Like, the show has not even attempted to make us care about Universe 4. So when they got deleted, it was like every other deletion had some sense of, like, dread and some sense of, like, emotion. This, I was just like, all right. They've done nothing with Universe 4. Nothing. Like, I did not care. Just not a very good episode. There were so many missed opportunities here, and the episode felt very rushed. There was no real follow-up to anything last week at all. Like, no reaction, like nothing to what I thought was a pretty big deal having Universe 2 and 6 go. The Kitella-Beerus rivalry means nothing. It's just pointless filler, and that's what this episode felt like, pointless filler. So, I'm sorry. If you think that I'm a hater, I think you're an idiot because I've praised Super a lot more. And in this fandom, sometimes people say that if you're too nice to Super, you're a fanboy. And if you're too mean to it, you're a hater. That's not what's happening here, folks. This was just a poorly produced episode, and I told you why. But again, that's only my opinion. If you disagree with me and you like this episode, that's great. That is great. Good on you. I did not like it. It was a huge letdown, and we'll see what happens next week with the Universe 3 robots, which I think will be a little bit better just because the concept of a big Megazord is a cool idea. Let's hope they don't screw it up. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So that's next week. Remember, Verve, 30 free days of Verve. Sign up right now. Link is down below. You can watch Dragon Ball Super, now dubbed. You can watch the first 39 episodes of Super dubbed, and every 2 weeks they're going to be adding new episodes. So if you missed that English dub when it was running on Toonami, that's okay. You can marathon the entire thing with the familiar Texas cast, the Funimation cast on Verve, plus tons of other anime. What did you think about the episode? Let me know down below. Thank you, and I'll talk to y'all then, and we'll preview next week tomorrow.